Hey, guys, it's your boy Jay from Jay Knows Wrestling. And hell, it is the week of WrestleMania 39. And the best thing about WrestleMania is the Raw afterwards. Why we can complain. Why this guy didn't get a big push the next night after Mania. Why this big surprise didn't happen immediately after Mania. Why this angle we've all been dreaming of didn't take off immediately after Mania. Or the huge surprise that happened at the Raw after Mania. How hot the crowd was the Raw after Mania. One of the things that everyone looks forward to during WrestleMania season is the Raw after. And so many amazing things have happened on the Raw after Mania. But now that Triple H is in charge, we have a chance to get the best Raw after WrestleMania ever. And guess what? The one that knows everything there is to know about wrestling, your boy Jay, is here to book it for you. So get ready to listen to Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 39 being booked to perfection. So, obviously, since WrestleMania has not happened yet, we're going to have to assume some people won some matches, okay? We're going to have to assume a couple things went down during Mania. And some of those assumptions I'm just going to touch on when we get to those parts of Monday Night Raw instead of me running down the entire way I would have booked WrestleMania. That should be a completely different video. Okay? So with that in mind, let's begin the Raw after WrestleMania 39. And the way to start it off, of course, is hearing Cody Rhodes' music, listening to all the pyro. Something, something, Cody Rhodes. And have Cody, victorious Cody, on April 3rd, like he talked about, come to the ring with both of those belts. And soon after he gets there, he lets the crowd cheer him for a while. He soaks it in, but he grabs the mic and says, I'm not the only winner from last night. I'm not the only one that took titles away from that scourge on this company for over the last year. I had some friends help me take down the bloodline as well. And then we get KO and Sammy. And then we get to listen to the crowd cheer them as well. And as they're in the ring, just talking about how great it was to finally conquer the bloodline, how they ended the bloodline. It took Sammy burrowing in little by little, then Cody coming back from that horrific injury, and Kevin being the one that fought them consistently throughout, that brought this all together at WrestleMania. But they all feel there hasn't been enough opportunity in the WWE since the bloodline started running the show. All the world titles have been held hostage. The tag titles held hostage. The world titles held hostage. There's just not enough opportunity to go around. There should be a face for every show. But since the bloodline held everything hostage, that hasn't been able to happen. And before they could get out of their mouths exactly what they are going to do to create more opportunities for other superstars on the roster, Baron Corbin comes out on stage. During WrestleMania weekend, or maybe earlier in the night before Raw, one of the two, we find out that the WWE, due to the sale that they are trying to conduct, has created a championship committee. And the face of that committee and the voice of that committee is none other than Baron Corbin, which puts him in a place of higher authority than Adam Pearce. And as Baron Corbin comes out on stage, he likes to thank Cody and KO and Sammy for having the exact same thinking as the championship committee did. Because they too believe all the belts being held by just a select few is not good for business. So what they have done, have basically decided for Cody, KO, and Sammy that they'll be keeping the WWE World Championship and Raw Tag Team titles and will be vacating the Universal Championship and the SmackDown Tag Team titles. And on Raw tonight, we will have a match to determine the number one contender for both titles. And on SmackDown, we will be holding a championship match for the newly vacated titles if the champions choose to vacate the titles. But if the champions choose not to vacate those titles, the champions will be entered into triple threat title matches on both Raw tonight, the night after Mania, and SmackDown coming up this Friday. So they will no longer be a number one contender match on Raw. It will now be a triple threat for the title. And on SmackDown, it won't be man on man versus for a vacated title. It will now be a triple threat against the champion. And Baron Corbin, he's a good man. He believes the championship committee might be a bit too hasty on making decisions. So he's giving Cody, KO, and Sammy 1 hour to decide if they want to vacate those titles and let the matches go on as planned by himself and the championship committee, or if they're ready to fight right away and just want to keep on defending those titles, but separately in triple threats until the titles are off of both the team of KO and Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. And right before we go to commercial, we have people in Adam Pearce's locker room asking why they weren't given the number one contender spot for the tag team titles, why they weren't given the number one contender spot for the world championship. And what is this whole championship committee even about? And all Adam Pearce has to say, I don't know, but it seems like Baron Corbin has some friends pretty high up the chain. So we get back from commercial break, and Damian Priest is in the ring. And he explains why he cost the Demon Finn Balor his Hell in the Cell match against Edge. He says Judgment Day started as a group to navigate a new path through the WWE that would lead to the demise of the weak and lead to gold for those that knew what Judgment Day was about. But instead, they let people like ex-con Dom join. It just turned into a comedy group. None of them were ever on the same page, no matter how much they want to say that they were. But he and Edge started something. And Damian Priest believes that they should get back to that thing in which they started. And before Damian Priest could say anything else, a returning AJ Styles comes to the ring and says, yes, I was there when Judgment Day started. I was the first victim of the Judgment Day. I guess you might as well say I was the last victim of Judgment Day before you guys turned into a comedy stable with ex-con Dom. But now I'm back from injury, and Damian Priest, I will show you what navigating a new path through the WWE is all about. So after those promos, we get a match between AJ Styles and Damian Priest. The club, by AJ Styles' side, is interfering here and there, but not in anything too egregious. But then Edge and Gangrel come down to even the odds, and Damian Priest gets a win over AJ Styles, but it is not cemented as if to Damian Priest, Edge, and Gangrel, who also returned at Mania, are on the same page. We cut to backstage, and we have wrestlers harassing Baron Corbin backstage about who the number one contenders are for these matches. And Corbin saying, it all depends. It all depends if we're going to have a triple threat tonight for the title or if we're going to have a one-on-one contender match. Because there's two different possibilities here that the championship committee needs to consider before they name the men for these matches. We cut back to the ring, and Elias is in the ring doing his thing to get some local Sportstown heat. As Elias is going on getting his Sportstown heat, we get Cameron Grimes to the main roster. Cameron Grimes runs down Elias quite a bit here, and we get a match between Elias and Cameron Grimes. And it is amazing showing for Cameron Grimes, and Cameron Grimes gets the win over Elias. We get back from commercial, and the music of Damage Control hits. Bayley comes to the ring and declares that Dakota Kai and Io Sky should get their tag team title match tonight as Damage Control beat the team of Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus at WrestleMania. Yes, Trish did turn on Lita and Becky, but they believe that they are due their tag team title rematch at the very least. That's what should have happened at Mania anyways, as Bayley challenged for one of the women's championships. But instead, she decided to lower herself once again to take on Becky and her old friends to see if she could beat her just one more time, which she did. Bayley is then interrupted by the man. And Becky Lynch jumps on accepting that tag team title bout, but also says that she should be Asuka's number one contender, not Bayley. Some back and forth happens, and guess what? We get a good old-fashioned brawl. And Lita comes down for the save. And Lita just barely gets Becky out of the ring as they're getting stomped out by Damage Control. But Lita does not look too happy with Becky, as Becky did accept a challenge for the women's tag team titles later on in the night. So immediately after that brawl, we cut to backstage. And it's an interviewer about to interview Asuka, but as we see Asuka on camera, Trish Stratus is talking to her. Trish Stratus notices the interviewer and takes off running. The interviewer asks Asuka what that's all about. Asuka acts confused as to what are you talking about. Then the interviewer asks Asuka, well, what do you think about Bayley being the next one that you defend your title against? Or Becky Lynch being the first one you defend your title against? And all Asuka has to say is, Asuka's gonna kill you. Another commercial. As we get back from commercial, we're just a little bit into the second hour. Baron Corbin's in the ring. And he asks for Cody, KO, and Sammy to please come down to the ring and give him and the WWE Championship Committee the answer. Are they going to be honorable men? Men of their words, actually, because they were already speaking about it before Baron came down and mentioned anything. Or are they going to be selfish like all three of them always had and not do the right thing for business? But instead, Austin Theory's music hits. And Austin Theory comes to the ring and brags a bit, saying he should be the one that fights for the WWE Championship on this night, as he just defeated John Cena the night before. As the United States champion should always be the number one contender anyways for the World Championship. But before he could say any more, Paul Heyman comes down. Paul Heyman says this is unfair of the championship committee to do anything. Yes, automatic rematches were taken out of WWE canon, but it has been written into the contracts of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and the Usos that they are to be given a rematch automatically. It is a clause that they made sure that was especially in their contracts, even though the WWE no longer does those. But Paul Heyman turns to Austin Theory and he says, but don't worry. If you want a match, if you want a title shot, you'll be the next in line. And hands Austin Theory one of his cards. And before Corbin can answer Heyman or Theory, Seth frickin' Rollins comes down. Rollins brags about the fact that he had the best match of all of WrestleMania weekend. And if anybody deserves to be in either a number one contenders match this night or in a WWE Championship match this night, it should be Seth Rollins. He had the match that brought the most eyes to WrestleMania as he took on Jake Paul. He put on the best match of all of WrestleMania. So there is no doubt in his mind that he should be fighting for a title on this night. And once again, before Corbin can answer, Cody's music hits. And Cody comes down. And Cody says, yes, I've wanted this WWE Championship. I really did not care that much about the Universal Championship. But it was just something about beating the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, who held these titles for so long, especially this Universal Championship. It makes these titles special to me. And I am not just handing them out to anyone. I will be a fighting champion. So no, I am not vacating the titles. And then we go to the Titantron, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are laid out in the back, and we go to another commercial. So we get back from commercial, and apparently there's a helicopter above my house. Okay. Well, hopefully we don't get too much of that interference, but who knows? So we get back from commercial. Baron Corbin's made it backstage. Medical staff tending to Sammy and KO, and KO points off screen and says, if those are the ones, if they're one of the teams we're having to defend our titles against, we're not giving up anything. We'll defend our titles tonight and then again on SmackDown. Whatever you guys want, we will be fighting champions, especially if we're going to get our hands on those. And KO keeps on pointing off screen. Then we go in the ring, and Chad Gable is just talking about how upset he is in Otis, how Otis went with Maximum Male Models instead of him. And then Otis decided to team up with him during Mania and then let him down during that match. And he says, Otis, I'm not sure how Alpha Academy could go on anymore. I'm going to need to find a new student. And before he could get anything else out, Karrion Kross comes down with a more serious, a more sinister look, and comes to the ring and just destroys Chad Gable. And then a match starts. And then Karrion Kross, within seconds, straitjacket. And will not release. Like just brutalizing Gable. And then we get another Gable. Gable Steveson heading to the ring. Kross lets go. Him and Gable Steveson have a stare down. Kross gets a sinister smile on his face, but leaves the ring without attacking Stevenson. And it's looking like Chad Gable's new pupil of Alpha Academy is Gable Steveson. He's finally to WWE television. And now we get our women's tag team title match between Becky Lynch and Lita versus Damage Control. But as Dakota Kai and Io Sky, I've already forgotten her name. Awesome. Head to the ring. They tell Bayley they don't want her. They don't want her anywhere near this. They are going to do it. They don't want her anywhere near this. We get a great match, as we should, between Lita, but she's never had a good match. But you know what I mean. Between Becky and Damage Control. Bayley does come down, causes some distraction with Becky. Damage Control hit whatever move on Lita, pin Lita. Damage Control once again, women's tag team champions. Bailey's gone by the time Lita comes to. Lita thinks Becky just wasn't there for her. Now we get a blow up between Lita and Becky. And as they start fighting, Trish comes to the ring. So now we're getting a fight between all three women. And guess what? We're getting another commercial because that women's tag team title match actually got a good amount of time. So as we get back from break, we're backstage. Triple H looks at Baron Corbin and says, "Man, you're doing a good job as the voice and the face of this championship committee. Is there any pointers I could give you as a former authority figure?" And Baron says, "No, Triple H, I got this." Triple H said, "Okay, don't get too cocky. This is your first Raw after Mania. I hope you have some big things planned because I really don't want to outshine the championship committee's face on his very first night on the job." Very ominous words by Triple H. Do we have some big surprises still in store? We've already gotten Cameron Grimes. Gable Steveson looks like Karrion Kross is on a new direction. Asuka and Trish Stratus possibly together. What's going on with the World Championship and the World Tag Team titles? Who knows? But it's the night after Mania. We have to have a segment with WrestleMania's host, The Miz. And Miz is there with Maurice. And The Miz just has to brag about how great he did over WrestleMania weekend, being the host of WrestleMania 39 and how it went off without a hitch. So many great things happened. So many great moments, all facilitated by him. And he did have some help from his wife. A couple of things did kind of happen, but his wife Maurice made sure to smooth them over. And then we get interrupted by Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green says The Miz and Maurice caused the big melee that happened backstage that got her into a fight with several other ladies of the women's roster. And then again on night 2, almost the same exact thing happens, like The Miz can't learn from the mistake he made on night 1. And then Chelsea Green and Maurice seem like they are about to get into it. Well, then The Miz grabs Chelsea Green so Maurice could get a free shot. And then you should know what's coming. Woo woo. No. Matt Cardona comes down to save his wife. And Miz looks like he has seen a ghost. Matt Cardona now in WWE and lets The Miz know that he holds him responsible for all the trauma that his wife had to go through over WrestleMania weekend. And he will make sure that The Miz relives all of that trauma in the weeks to come. As Matt Cardona gets done talking, we get a match between Chelsea Green and Maurice, a rare Maurice match. But as you know, it's a women's match. So it's not really about this match. It's about the angle to come between Matt Cardona and The Miz. So maybe a 2-minute match at most. Chelsea Green finally gets a win on television, albeit over Maurice. But it looks like we're going to have a pretty good feud set up between The Miz and the returning Matt Cardona. And right before we go to commercial, we see Jey Uso out in the parking lot talking to Sami Zayn, talking about the night previous, saying, you know, that's my brother, that's my blood, those were my titles. We had to do everything to hold on to it, but you know I couldn't do that dirty stuff to you. And I feel you took advantage of that, Sami. And we are brothers. We need to talk this out. We need to figure this out soon. And Sami says, yes, we are. And they embrace. And just as they embrace, Kevin Owens sees it. But instead of acknowledging it to Sami, to even say anything to Sami, Jey sees KO. Kevin Owens just turns around and walks away. And now it's time for the triple threat for the Raw Tag Team titles. which we get KO and Sami Zayn versus the AOP with Paul Ellering. And they start brawling immediately as the AOP was who attacked KO and Sami Zayn. In a good 5 minutes or so into the match, as the match starts to calm down from the wild hockey fight, we get Bro. RK Bro back in a Raw Tag Team title match, which I believe the last time that they wrestled as a team was them losing those Raw Tag Team titles. I'm pretty sure. But now we have RK Bro and the AOP taking on KO and Sami Zayn for the Raw Tag Team titles. And somehow, just somehow, Sami Zayn and KO are able to pick up the win, getting a pin over the it doesn't seem like he's quite healed all the way yet. Randy Orton. Of all the people to take the pin in this match, it is Randy Orton. He doesn't seem like he's 100%. And even afterwards, Matt Riddle doesn't look very happy with KO for doing the pop-up powerbomb on him, but is still tending to his friend Randy instead of going after KO after being so upset after they just lost his tag team title match. And KO and Sami Zayn basically tell the world it doesn't matter who you bring. You could put us in triple threats every single night, but everybody will get opportunities, but they are keeping their titles. If you're going to force us to do something, we're not going to do it. Once again, good old commercial. But when we come back, Triple H asked Corbin, had some great surprises tonight. I hope you got one more up your sleeve. And Corbin says, well, I believe I do. I believe I do. And now we're getting our triple threat for the World Championship or the WWE Championship, however you want to classify it. And we get Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor. Baron Corbin points out all of Finn's merits and how it was the Demon who has always come up short in these high pressure situations, not Finn Balor. Finn Balor's the Universal Champion. But when Finn Balor went to go fight for the title, it was the Demon. It wasn't Finn. So Corbin's behind the fact that it needs to be Finn Balor in this match tonight. And the third man is Seth Rollins. Not a very big surprise here. But now we have Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes. And it's a match. You know these three guys could put on a hell of a match. And we get to the end. But Edge and Gangrel come down and start attacking Finn. So now it's turning into a Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes match. But now it's turning into complete anarchy because there's something going on out in the crowd right there by the barricades, and nobody knows what to make of it. Seth Rollins walks over there. And the next thing you know, Seth Rollins is unconscious, and two guys take off running away from the ruckus that was just happening at the barricade. And as this is going on, Cody Rhodes is just coming to. And as he stands up, Edge and Gangrel throw Finn Balor to Cody Rhodes. Cody hits the crossroads, pins 1, 2, 3, keeps his titles. Raw is going off the air with Cody holding up both belts. And then, as Edge and Gangrel start going in on Finn Balor once again, Jay White appears to fight off Edge and Gangrel, help his buddy Finn up off the mat, and has a stare down with Cody Rhodes. And that right there, my friends, is how you book the perfect Raw after WrestleMania this year. A lot more surprises to be had, a lot more surprises that are rumored that could have happened. But those, could they happen on SmackDown? Maybe we're going to have to do a video on how to book the perfect Friday night SmackDown after WrestleMania 39. I've been your boy Jay, and that's all I have to say. Have a great day.